I apologize about that. I have no pause button on this laptop. So this is part 2 beta. So as I left off, when I was younger, I always thought I was just black and that I was blessed because I had curly hair. Kind of found out that curly hair isn't always a blessing in the black community. And the reason that is because, some people are jealous and they're assholes. And sometimes, things happen. Anyway, so young black girls didn't really accept me. And they would pick on me all the time. And they would always tell me, you're never going to be good enough for a black girl. You're never going to be good enough for a black girl. And when somebody tells you something long enough, you start to believe it. Alright? And so I went through a whole lot of my life believing that I was ugly and was never good enough for black chicks. Then I realized something. Who needs them? There are other girls out there. So being mixed also, I had many different adventures. But a lot of racism mostly came from young black people. And the point of that is, one girl was named L, the other girl was named S. I had crushes on both of them. Couldn't really mess with the S girl because we had the same last name. And, incest is a thing. So we don't want to have that happen. Plus, we're in 2nd or 3rd grade, stuff like that. So you don't know anything about sex by then. And if you do, you're advanced. Anyway, that being said. So I messed with some black girls for a little while. And then when they started breaking my heart as I got older, no. I know what you're thinking. How'd you get there from there to there? Okay, I skipped a lot. Because we don't need to go into my painful history of how many times girls have played me in life. So as I got older, if I ever got in trouble, I didn't want my mom to come to school. Because my mom is 15 shades lighter than me. So, this is my true color up here. And she's off-white. So, when I got in trouble. And then the racism really got bad. Because now they knew my mom was white-looking. Not white, but white-looking. I mean, she's only white-looking because we have white ancestors. And they was like, oh, James, you got a white mom. You got a white mom. You got a white mom. So, I would prefer my Aunt Gladys to come to school because my Aunt Gladys, like me, is high yellow. Yeah, and my Aunt Carol was living in New York, so that wasn't really an option. But anyway, neither one of them would come to school. My mom had to come to school. And being called half-breed once or twice and being called the nigger once or twice led to a lack of judgment on my half. I'll tell you guys this story before. A young white lady called me a nigger, and I punched her in the mouth. I made her mouth bleed. Again, I apologize to that young lady now. You don't have to accept it, and I don't really give a damn. We both were wrong. I was wrong because I'm a martial artist, and my mama raised me not to hit girls. You were wrong because my name is James, not nigger. And I had no reflex control. I still don't have reflex control. So whenever I'm in a fight, whatever happens, happens because I don't have reflex control. So, as we got older, I met other mixed people who have had similar stories, But probably not as bad as me because most people, they will look at some mixed people like, okay, you're just biracial. But when you're multicultural and you have 3 ethnicities versus 2, it's a bit hard to explain. Alright? So, song and dance is simple. Both of my grandmothers are Cherokee Indian descent. One is full-blooded Cherokee. One, we're not sure. One of my grandfathers is completely black. And one of my grandfathers is half black, half white. So, triple threat on my mom's side, double threat on my father's side. So, 3 ethnicities. Alright? So, that being said, going to school was hell. And going to college was just as bad. Because not only am I of a different race, not only do I have to explain to people my race because, curiosity happens. And you can't get mad at people if they look at you and they're not sure what your ethnicity is. Because not everybody runs around with blinking lights saying, hey, bitches, I'm mixed. That's just not something that happens every day. Most people can tell, and most people respect boundaries, And then there's a lot of people who can tell and don't respect boundaries. So like, yo, what you mix with? Now, there have been more polite people who come at me like, can I ask you a question? I always know it's coming because I've been dealing with this since I was like 9 or 7 or 6, whatever. But, like, yeah, I know what you're going to ask me, so let me go ahead and break it down for you. I'm part Cherokee Indian, I'm part black, and I'm part white. I am a mutt. It's like, how'd you know we're going to ask that? Because you've been looking at me for 15 minutes before you made your way over here to ask me, what am I? It's like, you notice? I say, dude, it's a room full of people. You can almost feel when someone is actually staring at you, especially when this has happened to you all of your life. So, racism. It is seasonal when there are pandemics. But for people of color, it is an everyday thing. Just because you haven't been a victim of that cycle doesn't mean that it's not an everyday thing. I'm sure if you're white, you've bumped into somebody black who just doesn't like you, turn their nose up in the air, and call you a cracker. That's because the older generations were called honkies. The newer generations are called crackers. I'm sure if you're black, you've bumped into someone who is Asian, and he is like, I don't like this Gaijin motherfucker. Or I don't like this Guaylo motherfucker. I forgot what the words were for black, but Gaijin and Guaylo usually stands for white people, but it also could be foreigner, depending on if you're speaking Mandarin, Pinyin, Cantonese, or any other of the 1,000 Chinese dialects that exist. That's right. There's 1,000 Chinese dialects. And if you're Chinese and you don't know that, congratulations, I just taught you something brand new. I learned that in my Chinese film and fiction class. Anyway, the point of the matter is, I'm sure that if you are black, you've probably walked up to somebody white. Did you just couldn't stand like, man, I hate that white trash hunky motherfucker. No, or cracker. And I'm sure you guys know some people who have said it. You probably said it or thought it yourself and just didn't have the courage to say it. I'm sure that there have been other Asian ethnicities that have walked in like, I'm sure they don't like hearing this joke, but I'm going to say it anyway. So before I say this joke, let me apologize to everyone who's Asian, because I'm going to piss you off. I know you've heard this joke even if you're not Chinese. Me Chinese, me play joke, me put pee in your Coke. Okay. I'm sure you've heard that joke. I've heard it. I was so mad when I was first told it. And the first person that actually told me that joke, guess what? They were Chinese. So it's like, yeah, thanks. And I really didn't know how to respond to that. So, racism, reverse racism, this video is covering all that. So if you're very sensitive, you should probably stop watching now while you're 8 minutes in. The point of the matter is that racism becomes seasonal during global events. But racism is an everyday thing for the average Joe. And not racism, sexism. And God help the guys in the alphabet squad who are of a different ethnicity and don't know if they want to be male or female, or this whole new gender fluent, gender neutral, whatever the heck that shit is. I don't qualify for that. I don't qualify to talk about that because I don't know. There's always something new there. And I'm straight, so I'm like, okay, how do I address this without pissing people off? You can't. And here's the thing on that. And I'm going to say this is going to be as racist as fuck, so let me apologize to all of you now, because this is going to be truly racist. I can't walk up to an Asian and tell you what Asian country they are from. I can't do that. I can't walk up to a white person and say, oh, you're Scottish. If I don't know your last name, you're just a white person. If I don't know your last name, you're just an Asian person. And this is how most Asian stereotypes become racism, because you might walk up to somebody who's from the Philippines and say, what's up, chap? And they might not be Chinese. And I'll combine chap and jap. So they might not know what the hell you mean, and then it's on. And you can't just go around calling all people who are not Chinese, Chinese. And you're like, yo, China boy. You can't do that. Hey, Japanese boy. You can't do that. Now, let's clarify some shit. School uniforms. That is a complete European to China to Japan. Every country in the world, unless you're in a private school in America, has school uniforms. And granted, the Japanese took the uniform idea from the Europeans. which is why the girls in most of these schools and in most of these movies have these damn these damn Sailor Scout uniforms because of the cultural divide. And when Japan and China started letting Europeans in to do trade down the Silk Road and all the other stuff, you know, ideas got swapped. You know, if young ladies came with them on their journey, to some Asian men, they've never seen a white woman before. It's like exotic to them. It's the same thing with if a black woman came through. It's exotic to them. It's the same thing on the other side of the track too. If a black man sees an Asian woman and he's never seen one before, and Asian women are naturally the most beautiful women in the world, and that's not just my opinion, that's a fucking fact. If you don't like it, deal with it. They are mesmerized by them. And the same can be said for black women who come to Asia, and if they've never seen an Asian woman, a black woman before, whether she be black American, or she be from Africa, or she be from Jamaica, or whatever other continent that has black people predominantly in it, they'll be mesmerized. And they'll be like, oh, this chocolate bunny looks great. You know, it happens. This is how mixed race people like me exist. Because someone saw them and thought, wow, this is exactly what happened with slavery. This is how I have white ancestry, because somebody probably decided that one of my ancestors was a sexy black thing and just said, okay, I'm going to bang that out. I'm going to knock her up. And next thing you don't know, we got a mixed ancestor running around. And then they have more, and they have more. And then someone else on the other side is like, oh, yeah, well, we're going to mess with this person. And boom, there you go. Now I got my mom and my dad's side. You know? But this is the thing, you know, racism is only seasonal when it is a global thing. Sorry. Totally unfair. Anyway, so I can go ahead and get ready to end this video. I want you guys to understand why I made this video. So I'm going to end this video. We're 12 minutes in. I want to end this video on a peaceful note. If you're not up to speed, there's been a lot of attacks on Asian people due to the coronavirus. Because of its origins in Wuhan, China, all Asian people have been a target. All of them. No exceptions. Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Koreans, Laos, Vietnamese, Samoans, Polynesians, all of them have been targets. And most of this happens because of racial stereotypes and all Asians look alike. They haven't really attacked Native Americans, but Native Americans are also Asian, so we have to also make sure we protect our Native American populations. When you do these things, you know, most people don't even realize these things, but they do them anyway, and it really, really sucks. So that being said, you know, we need to all take note at what we're doing. Racism is a thing that will never go away until we address it. Racism is a thing that we can fight if we want to, but most of us choose to turn a blind eye because if it doesn't affect you directly, it will only affect you indirectly. And what does not affect you indirectly yet will affect you directly in your immediate future. So stop being racist. Is a thing that will never. Now, that being said, you know, we have to figure out how to come together, take the coronavirus by the balls, and destroy it, and then get back to normal lives. So please stop being racist. Stop having seasonal racist moments when racism is here every day. It's just a certain season that certain companies get taken out and blown out of proportion, and this is why this happens. We as people need to understand two things for fact. One, we're all human. Two, we all bleed red blood. And if you're not bleeding real blood, your platelets or your something or another must not be functioning. So that being said, you guys have a great day. It's Comfort Havoc number 2, B, C, and U.